Okay, D-Link internet camera. This is a really great camera. You can access it from any browser. You you need a router. This what's on your internet. So you need a good internet speed. I've got 3 megapixels a second, and that seems to work fine. You can change the frame rate on here, but you'll need internet. You'll need a cord, a networking cord. This one just has a networking cord, or you can get the one with the networking cord or wireless, but I prefer the cord. There's a focus. You can change this to focus when you have it done. It's pretty sharp. The output is like 320 by 240, or you can do 640 by 480. So it's a pretty good quality. These are day cameras. At night, of course, you need a light, like just a regular old halogen light, or just a regular light in there for you to see anything. So hopefully that's convinced you that this is the camera for you, and you'll see as I go through this video, I will actually show the image that you get. Let me go ahead and quickly do that. This is just in my room. I've just got the clock there so you can see the time running. You can have a lot of cameras. You can zoom. You can I'm not sure other cameras, if the newer cameras, you can actually tilt them, and move the camera and search different places. That's not this camera. This is just a still one. The settings are up here. You can have the IP address, the port number, the camera ID, and the password. That one's important. Each camera can have its own password. There's motion detection. Here you can see I can select an area to watch. So there can be an area I ignore. So if you're just looking for half the video, you just want to monitor that half the video, you can select with these little boxes, and the sensitivity and frequency. There's image motion detection. I think on that event, you can have it do some things. There's schedule recording, the frame rate, how long, image quality, the brightness, and so on. But this would be the major screen. Once you get the software going, it's going to take you through a wizard, and I'll go through some troubleshooting later. But I wanted to show you that's kind of some of the configurations you can do. You can have up to 32 cameras, I believe. Of course, streaming the internet, I think each camera, I don't know if they allow one camera to be streamed at a time, and if you have to switch through the different cameras to do that, I'm not quite sure, because I just have the one. But on the software, you can have up to 32. And then you can configure it right from the software here. You can also, let me get rid of that, you can also configure the software from your browser. Right here. When you set this all up, you're going to have an internet address you go to, and this is it. Of course, this says 754. That was the last snapshot I made. So all you'd need to do is hit the refresh, and that is the current date. Hit the Java, and then that will, as long as you have Java runtime environment 7 or higher, I'm not sure, but that would have a continuous Let's do that right now. Okay, activate Java platform, and then allow. There's even a zoom, 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Okay, Java wants to use the internet. We'll let him this time. Okay, 904. And you can see, let me zoom up. I can't zoom in, but here's the seconds. So I've got it about 1 frame a second. So the seconds are ticking away on the screen, so I know that it's actually doing a frame a second. That's where, like, a colorful light, a strobe light, a clock right in front, or something that turns, some kind of motion will let you know that it's actually working. That's just the live video, and this has nothing to do with computer based other than the browser. It's all contained within the camera, so you don't need any other thing on except the router and the camera plugged in. There's a setup, network, wireless setups, image setup, contrast, anti-flicker. Here's the video where you can set the resolution and the quality and the light frequency. You can even have it mail you, as long as you supply it with your SMTP server address, your email, your username and password, and then hit save. It will send you a warning if something's going on. Like, you can have it schedule through the day at start periods. I think the mail part is on any activity. So if you had like a section 2, you wanted to, if there was any motion, bam, it would use the mail settings to say, hey, we've got some motion here, they're in this one area, and it just lets you know. There's an FTP setting, and I haven't really used this. I do have an FTP site, but I haven't. I just upload my website to it, but I haven't used it for saving video. Like, I think it saves JPEGs. JPEG will be sent to the above FTP server for testing, but I think if you schedule it, it'll keep sending frames and save it on your account, your FTP account. I haven't tried it, so I don't know for sure, but so far this camera's worked excellent, so I'm not going to question. It's got a status, that's firmware, the date, the internet connection. Now in setup here, there is a network. Let me see if it's in the network. Maybe it's maintenance, where you can actually, okay, here, maintenance, old password, new password. I don't think you should change this, because when I tried it at home from a distance, it didn't turn out well. I couldn't have access to my video image. I don't know exactly what I did wrong, but if you're going to change the password before you get it, at the location, and don't mess with it after that, because it locked me out and I had to reset the password. Let's go back to the live video, and this is all coming from the camera, and you can zoom in. You can do a lot of stuff with this, and this is just messing with the camera settings itself. It's wonderful. Okay, let's get out of this. All right, let's go to the software portion. Now, if you're not sold on the camera, or if you are, this is a pivot point right here. So I hope I've convinced you that this is a great camera, and you probably won't be interested in all the rest if you're not going to buy this camera. So before I start installing, you might want to pause this video right now, think up of a username, think up a password, think up an email, what email you're going to use, get the serial number and the MAC address from the back of the camera. So the username is going to be just like a generic username you're going to use. Just yeah, it's not going to be shown on the URL or anything. Once we log into their server, then there is a name. You'll have to identify this camera, and it's attached to their .com, so that will be visible. So you want it something generic like House One, or it's just some House One and then dot, and then it'll have their web address .com. So that will be visible. So you want either to be generic or whatever, but I'll go into that later. So think up a username and password, and you can pause it right now, and then I'll continue with the software installation and the rest. Okay. Let me get a drink. Okay, you run the setup wizard. What it's going to do is going to look something like this. It's going to, if you're lucky, it's going to say have the MAC address that's on the camera itself, your current IP address, and the device name. Okay. If you do not get anything in here, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to take the device. They're on the side here, there's a reset, or there's a little hole that says reset. You're going to have to reset the hold it in, get a paper clip, hold it in, and it'll reset the password, and it'll also reset your IP address. I have a different IP address when I used it before, so I had trouble getting it working because it had a different IP address. It had 192.168.1.2. So if your router is different from the router that you used before, that's what happened to me. It was not on the right. It had the .1 and .2 at the very end, the last two numbers. And that is not the scheme of my router. It has to be, mine has to be 192.168.0 and then the number. So that really tripped me up, so I had to reset the camera, and then it changed this 0 here to a 1. So my router was able to talk to it. Okay. Then you might want to write these down because this is the MAC address you'll need and the IP address for when you do the internet portion, when you log on to their .com. Okay, the DView camera. You want to run that setup file, run it, and there either should be an icon. If not, go into the program files and see DView and the DView cam. And I've already got it up and running here. And this is kind of what it'll look like. If this is not running, then like I said, you need to hit the reset button, and there's okay, here's this is the advanced part. But when you first run this, it's going to go to add a camera. That's kind of the wizard, and I think this is the wizard that you're going to come up against. Add cam, so you hit the forward, auto discovery, and then add manually. That's where you'd use the settings to fill that in, and that's it. And this is the quicker way to do it. Although I'm going to exit out of this, and I'm going to go back to the expert part. So once you get the camera loaded, you might want to go to the expert view. This will show the add camera, system basics, the event, where to record, some of the specifics. You can even set your email, SMPT, server name, your username, password, if you have it, the users. It even has a map to where you can have like a grid map. Okay, this is the study, this is the living room, and you can do all kinds of neat stuff there. I really haven't got into. I just like the camera, and that's it. Now it's in the expert view that you're able to have the MAC address, and here's the camera ID. So every time you have a camera, you would need to set up, I don't know if you need a separate ID for every camera. I would just choose admin, but then for each camera you can have its own camera password for each camera. The IP address, the port should be 80, and then whatever your current IP address for the camera is. Then you'd hit save. Here you do the motion detection you can select the little blocks here. So if you just want an area like a doorway, or if you have like a view to the outside and you don't want to get the road because there would be a lot of traffic, you can select that with these X's. The sensitivity, you can set frequency, event action. If there is a image motion detection, you can add an event. I'm not sure if that's the email part or not. You can schedule a recording, what frame rate, the image quality, brightness, color, or brightness, contrast, and saturation. A lot of stuff you can fix, set on here. It has up to 32 cameras. Of course, the internet, I don't know if that's gonna be a one camera deal, and if it only lets you have one camera, then do you have to switch between cameras? I only have the one camera, so I can't really test. Maybe in other videos. Check later to see if I have an update to this. I might get another camera. System configuration, that's what we were in just a second ago. Video playback, event search. I'm going to minimize this right for now because I think I've done, I went through the info here. This is pretty much the same thing. That's how you access it. Up at the corner here, the little green shows it's going. It's showing the video live. So I think I've gone through the basics here about how to configure. Let me minimize this. Let me get rid of the setup wizard. Okay. I went through that. I went through the expert mode. You can add several cameras to it. Focus the lens. Okay, browser. I went through some of the browser. Let me go back because in the live video, okay, in the, I think it is the setup, okay, image setup. No, this is not, because I should have live video setup, video resolution. Okay, maybe it's under video. Okay, here it is. Just some more about this. You can set to the 160 by 120, 320 by 240, or 640 by 480 resolution, and you can have the frame rate automatic, 30, 20, 15, 7, 5, or 1. JPEG quality very low, low, medium, high, or very high. And then the light frequency, 50 hertz or 60 hertz. And then you could just save the settings, and it should change as you update the settings. Male, I'm not sure if I've gone through this already. I probably have. I've done this over and over, so I'm not sure where I'm at. I think the next thing, I think I have gone through a lot of this. I went through the reset of the camera if you have any troubles. Let's go to the website now, because when you log in, you're going to have, this is where your username comes in, and you're going to type in your, what is it, your username, your password, your email, the serial number on your camera, and the MAC address. So that's how you get your account. So you're adding an account, and you need all that information. You put it in. The serial number and the MAC address are on the back of the camera. They as long as you have the serial number, they'll use whatever email account you have, and then from there you've created an account. Of course, you have to put in the CAPTCHA, whatever that is, and then agree to terms, and you should be able to create an account and write all that stuff down, the username and everything. The next thing you need to do is go to add host, and I've already added a host here, but basically the first name .dlink DDNS.com. So the dlink DDNS.com, that's where you'll go to create an account. And then I've just named this test video IDGP 2015. So it's very vague. It's nothing specific. It's just I liked, you could even put the month and the year, or month, day, year if you want, right up here. So it tells you when you added the camera and so forth. So you're all ready. All you have to do is just go to this address. Just type in ID. Let me zoom up on this. You go to the IDGP 2015.dlinkddns.com, and you should get this live video right straight away, and it should work. Of course, there's settings in there. They're going to want to know when you create a host name, the address that you put in is your IP address, and that's where when you do the setup, that setup part with the MAC address and IP address, those are what you use. If you didn't write it down, I think you can just go to this configure, and okay, there's the IP address. So if this camera is working, you know that this IP address right here is correct, and then the MAC address. Now, the way you put in the MAC address is it's 2 digits and then a colon. So this MAC address here doesn't have any colons. So when you type it in to create one, if you just use all the numbers and letters without the colons, it's not gonna work. So you're gonna have to put the number colon 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 letter number colon number colon and then number. So that's the scheme on the, and I think it has a little thing to where it'll show you where the colons need to be. And that's it. That's how it knows about this camera. And don't be afraid to delete this and experiment. Like if you want to change the name, if you get a different camera or whatever, you just want to change the name, just delete it and then add another host, and then you can change this name before the .dlink DDNS.com. You can change that whenever you want. Okay. All right. Of course, you need to have the Java runtime environment. Okay, I went through all the setup, went through the wizard. Yeah, it's a great camera. Like how you can just go on the web. I think I went through all that. Kind of losing my voice. Yeah, you just type it in, and there you go. You can see the status. It'll tell you the IP address. Maintenance, I wouldn't mess with that. Don't change the passwords. Only do that on your computer from the D-Link. Only do that from this area right here, because I think that's what actually it's safer to change the password from there, from that program, and not from here, because I made a mistake and it wouldn't let me back on. I couldn't see the camera. Okay, I went to the camera live. That's still in good shape. I think before this gets too long, it's gone quite long enough, I might add some more to this video, but for right now, I think if you have any troubles, I think I've hit on the basics and all that you can do. And I think I'll just leave it there and hope that this tutorial worked out for you. And keep it on my YouTube channel for more great products.